Hi, we are live. We're back on with our second episode. Is number two of the Becoming Magnetic podcast. We created this podcast because we believe powerful women like yourselves deserve powerful love lives.
We're your hosts, Kai and Rosalind, two women who've built fulfilling careers, learned a lot about resilience,
Oh yeah.
and discovered that finding the one isn't about luck, it's about intention.
And so, as part of that, today's conversation is all about starting with the end in mind. We'll explore what it means to anchor your love journey in a clear vision, one that's truly yours, not borrowed from what you've been told you should want.
Amen. So we're glad you're here, and I'm super excited about this topic. So let's get started.
Amazing. So we talk about starting with the end in mind, and this is borrowed language from Simon Sinek's "Start with Why." And when we think about that in a business or career context, there's something about having a clarity of purpose that helps you to be able to drive what you really want, and therefore how to go about going after it. And what I find interesting is a big part of why we've done this podcast and the course and cohorts we do with women is that the attitude we have towards our career and business, super. We are very much so strategic and thinking about what's the big vision that we have. But when it comes to our love lives, what we tend to do is well, I'm kind of hoping that I'll have the experience of Michelle Obama to land a Barack, or whatever it is that we see as the model or example of what we would love as a partner, but we don't actually have a plan for it. Rosalind, what's been your experience when you think about why we should be thinking with the end in mind?
Yeah, absolutely. We can't float and expect to reach our target, right? But I like the Simon Sinek start with why, and let's take a step back and maybe help orient people if not everyone has read it or heard of it before.
Love that.
So Simon Sinek, he's an author, a corporate consultant, businessman. He did a TED talk in 2009, I think it was, and he has the book Start with Why. And there's a core concept that he lays out in the book called the golden circle. And there are these three layers. First is the why, that's your purpose, cause, or belief, the emotional reason for your being or your action. And then the second circle is the how, the
Mm,
specific actions, processes, or values you uphold to give effect to realize your why. And then the third is the what. That's the products or services you offer, which are the tangible real world proof of your why. But it always starts with the why. And he was talking about this in the context of business, but even listening to that and Kai's framing, you might be able to see how we can directly translate this to our romantic lives as well. So this notion of starting with why
mm.
resonates with the emotional center of the brain. And so it's about our inspiration, what guides our decisions and our actions, so that we're living a more inspired and aligned and fulfilling life.
Absolutely. And when it comes to thinking about that, the question you should be asking yourselves is, why do I want a relationship? And it's easy to go, well, you know, the simple answer of, well, I want a man, or a deeper feeling of, I want to be loved. And that's good, that's a great start, but there's a deeper why behind that. So if I think about my own journey with this question over the years, is I remember, especially growing up in a Christian household, that a big part of your identity is that when you have now become a woman, so you've probably left your teenage years, went to college, and you're now starting the world of work, that the next step for you is marriage. And so for me, my why, without even consciously thinking about it, was that I was in a circle in the church, from home, and even from society that said the next step for me in life is to be married. And so when I engaged with other with men folks, so to speak, with guys, the thing, the drive, the big drive was, oh my God, I'm looking for a marriage partner. So that's the energy I went with. And not that there was anything wrong with that, but when I think back to the drive there, it really wasn't my own. I really wasn't clear on why this was going to be important to me, and therefore, thinking about those circles that Rosalind just described, how therefore I was going to go about it, and what it is that I was bringing to the table, and therefore I wanted them to bring to the table as well. So it took me quite a few years. I'm not gonna spill my age, but it took me more than a decade. And in recent years, my why is has been so clear. Like I know that I really want a relationship. I want to partner with somebody who will come alongside me. We have a shared kind of vision of values and where we're heading to in life, and how we can support each other to be able to get there. And that for me is really, really important. And of course, there's a long list of things on it, but I'm very clear on that. I'm not just looking for a marriage partner just because there is the pressure that by this age I should have been married and had children, or somehow something might be wrong with me because I'm not yet partnered. I'm very clear that I'm looking for someone that's going to come alongside, that I can support, they can support, we're complementing each other with a shared value. And life is just so much more fun, isn't it? Having someone to share the journey with doesn't mean it has to be a marriage partner, but within the context of what we're talking about with love, that is my why. I know I'm very clear on that.
Yeah, I can relate to what you're saying. I grew up in the Midwest in the US, and culturally, where I'm from, many people shortly after high school, yes, they went to college, but then many people shortly after were getting married and having children. And I want to clarify, it's not that Kai and I are saying that desire is problematic in itself. Obviously, we're wired to, as humans, right, to be in partnership and biologically to continue our 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 genetic lines. But we are at a point in our evolution as humans where we can, so I guess I can say, level it up, where we can be more thoughtful about why we make the decisions that we make.
Yeah.
But I, like you, hadn't really done that deep diving until maybe shortly before the global sickness began, and
Oh
then
dear.
really, dove deeper into who I am and what I want in life, and then what role does having a healthy marriage play? With a
Mm,
man with shared values, what does that play in life?
sure.
And for me, it's about reaching my full potential as a human. And I think that being in relationship creates this space for us to grow when done well, right? When we can set
Amen.
our intention, when we know our why,
Yeah.
we can, in getting back to, start with why, when we can articulate our why, then we can get to a place where it's not just, oh, this guy looks good with our resumes look good together, so I think this is right. Or I'm so smitten and my gut tells me that this feels right. But it's more than that. It's, I know it's right and I can articulate it because I've taken the time to be clear
Yeah.
about why I'm even seeking out a romantic relationship.
Yeah. And so we really want to encourage, as you're listening to this, h- we're sharing from our own experiences, and also what we've seen with the women that we have held space for to have these kind of conversations. The question really is, whose why is it? Is it that the desire that you have is being shaped by family culture? Um, by society, and again, by no means is there this hard line of you should never ever have influence from any of these spaces. But what we are saying is that we don't want you to lose yourself in that. We want you to have an authentic vision of love and partnership. So the reflection is, what am I calling in because I truly desire it? Is it that I desire it, or is it because this is what I have been told? So we wanted to really think about that. And if there are areas or there are things that you are recognizing that are not yours, do you want to keep it? Do you want to swap something else in for it? I'll give you an example. Um, I remember, I talk about growing up in a Christian household, and I'm forever grateful for the learning and all the things that came with that. But there were some things that had been taught that I carried with me that I didn't realize were just not quite right for me. Um, I think about the fact that yes, I wanted someone who shared Christian values, but was that the only thing that was at the end all? And so a lot of times I remember when I was dating, the first thing I would look for was, are they Christian? Tick. Do
Yeah.
they go to church? Tick. And in my mind, that covered a multitude of sins, so to speak. Like, oh my God, it's like, oh my God, look at this person. Um, and what that prevented me from doing is really looking at the individual character to say, but who are you really? And what is it that I am desiring that would really match my personality, my energy? Doesn't mean that you are going to be a replica of me, but does it complement me in terms of us being able to have a good relationship? And so when I started to do this work of calling in what I really desired, I had to strip that back and go, well, great, Christian values, going to church, what else? So I had to then start to articulate what for me were those things that were important, that were mine, that weren't borrowed from my parents or from anybody else. Um, and so we really want to remind you that we all have agency. The only person you are destined to become is the person that you decide to be. That's a quote from actually Emerson. And this applies to love. You get to decide the kind of partner and relationship that you want. So Roslyn, even as I'm saying that, I wonder, on your own journey, what has that experience been like when you think about the kind of turning point for you when you were starting to apply that matter of, well, yeah, I get to decide the kind of partner and relationship that I really want.
For me, I put a lot of weight on that resume, check those boxes. and didn't necessarily give enough weight to the fact that I'm continuously looking to grow and change and challenge myself.
Mm,
And that growth mindset is something that will be important to have in another person. And yeah, I would say I gave more weight previously to the chemistry and the resume.
okay.
Yeah, not enough to necessarily the life philosophy, because anyone can build that resume. Like we talked about, many of us have been
Right.
trained up, conditioned to go to school, get good grades, get a good job, and be successful,
Yeah.
whatever that means. But there is more. And now I've started to ask more questions related to be able to tease out what does this person think about challenging himself, about
Mm,
what's the spiritual path look like. And although I'm also like you, raised Christian, as a Catholic Christian, not necessarily something that's on my list, but more
right.
so someone that has the relationship with the creator, God, universe, however we want to call it, but also
Mhm.
recognizes that it's within us as well. And that we have to do some exploration and work to be able to
Right.
become that, uh, to ascend. I'll say, I'll keep it simple. So for me, I've also started to expand my consideration set, I'll say,
Right.
over time.
So I like what you said about this matter of a growth mindset. And again, you know, um, as professionals who are coaches and consultants, these are some terminologies we use in other spaces, but it's very applicable in love. And just in plain speak, I I love this match of the growth mindset and just want us to break it down a little bit for our audience. So when we think about the growth mindset, what's so important here is that it's having ability to be able to evolve over time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Being able to stretch beyond what you know now and also be able to correct direction because we're not going to know everything now and we're not always going to get it right. It's that ability to be able to grow into and evolve into being something that's bigger than where we are at, than where we would have started with. That's what when I think about the growth mindset, that's what I think about. Rosalind, is there anything different or anything you wanted to add to that?
As you were speaking, I'm like, my heart is resonating. I want that. Yes. What you
Yeah, good, good.
Because the reason that's important to me is because, I mean, our audience doesn't know, but you know, I've done many different things in life, and I expect that I will continue. I mean, I've,
Yeah.
you know, had the very formal engineering education, and then was a dancer. I'm still dancing as well. It makes my soul sing.
Oh,
You know, that's a part of me as well. And now we're embarking on this journey together. And there are many different things that I will try in life. So I won't be stagnant. And I don't expect that the man who I end up partnering with will either. And so that's super important to me, that no matter what we go through in life, we can grow through it.
no matter what we go through, we can grow through it. Um, and the reason that this is so important as well is when I think about a lot of my female friends and even persons I don't know personally, when they talk about the relationship with their partner, one of the things that has caused some failings in people deciding to go apart is because one partner was outgrowing the other. Like literally they're, and it's not always a woman, but in a lot of cases there are the women who are constantly growing, their career is growing, their mindset is growing. um and for some of us, or we might be growing in other areas, but anyway, that's another story. um but our taste and all of these things are growing, and if the person that we're with, they aren't equally evolving. And again, it's not about match for match being exactly like your partners, but if they aren't evolving, when you've heard people say, oh, you've changed, and sometimes you can hear the other individual respond, no, I haven't changed, I'm the same person. The reality is that for a lot of us, we're not the same person we were when we were 20. We're not the
Yeah,
same person when we were 30. Like,
yeah. It's
we
disturbing if we don't change.
it's this
Like,
exactly.
I hope you do change.
I hope you do change
Because
for
if
the
you stop,
better.
then we're dead. Basically.
Exactly. For the better. So what we are saying is, you want a partner that as you're growing, as I like that catchy phrase, as we're going, you're growing, as we're going through it, you're growing through it as well. Because if not, somebody's gonna get left behind.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna get left behind, and that's where you're gonna have a lot of conflict. But there's something as you said that really piqued my curiosity, because you said that the whole matter of chemistry was on your list, and then you're realizing that that's not enough. So I want you to talk to us about that, because in my mind I'm thinking, but that's like one of the key things here, chemistry. So why for you, when you look back, you're thinking, yeah, this is good, but just really not enough? Why did you say that?
Oh, well, because we're wired to have that. Now I can't remember. Is it the dopamine that kicks off? Can't remember which of the hormones, right, will be released when we're with this person we're attracted to, and we're wired to reproduce and
Hmm.
continue our existence as human beings, and that's fine. That by design, that's gonna fizzle after a certain
Mm. Okay.
so without shared values
Yeah.
and a common why, then once the chemistry fades, then what? You
Okay. That
look at
that
this
makes
person
sense.
like, okay,
Yeah.
and if the idea, at least my goal, is to have this lifelong, be on this lifelong journey
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the man that I end up marrying, then there has to be more.
Got it. I'm
And
with you now.
arguably, there's, having the aligned values can create an even more powerful connection
Right.
over time
Yeah.
than just the chemistry itself.
And I see that it's the dopamine hit, isn't it? It's that initial excitement that we get, and we're not saying it's fake, it's real, but it doesn't last forever. So when that excitement fades away, that initial chemistry that we have, and I think part of this is, going back to that whole matter of the growth, the chemistry will die, because again, one person if one person is changing and the other isn't kind of growing with them, then you're not going to have that chemistry anymore. You're not. That chemistry itself has to keep being reignited time and time again. So I love that. Sorry that I'm jumping all over the place. I love that you have really highlighted that. I never really thought about it that way, so I love that you brought that down. So we really always like to make sure that you walk away with a practical tip or exercise from our conversations. And today, we're talking about starting with the end in mind, being very clear on your why. So we just want to walk you through an exercise. We've done this with our cohorts of women in um, becoming magnetic, and we found it such a powerful exercise. It's actually a live meditation that we do. We won't be doing that on the podcast, but we just want to walk you through the exercise of it all. So, Rosalind, do you want us to walk through the audience, and I'm going to set it up. We want you um we want to help you to be able to set that intention, that vision of love that you want. So if you've not done this before, or you've done it before and you feel like I'm in a different place in life and I want to be able to think about again, what is that vision of love that is mine? It's not borrowed from somebody else's, not because of what society or family or culture has said, but because this is my own vision of love. So, Rossin, do you want to walk us through that exercise?
Sure. So the way it works is you'll take some time. You have, and it doesn't need to be super long. It could be 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. But you find a comfortable seat, quiet space where you can close your eyes comfortably and just sit grounded, both feet on the ground. Start to breathe deeply, lengthen your inhales and exhales, and then start to envision the kind of love that you want to call in, and really go down that path. Let yourself envision yourself in the relationship,
Mm,
where you are, how you feel, sights, sounds, temperature, and really sit with it. Feel what it feels like in your body as you envision this love that you like to call in. And
amazing.
you, yeah, just take the time to do that. And then it's always helpful if you can to take time to journal as well, write down your experience of taking time to do that practice. And something you said, Kai, about somebody may have done it before. I encourage everyone to be open to repeating things.
Yeah,
You never know what you'll find, right? As you go deeper or as you change, the vision might change.
yeah.
Yeah, things like that.
Perfect. And if you're going to be doing this exercise while listening to us or even after, so the setup is this: grab a notebook or journal, whatever you have with pen, or for those of you who are wanting to do it electronically, you can do it that way as well. Um, and this is not just some woo-woo stuff. I like to break things down because they sometimes, if you understand the why behind it, it's helpful. So the reason that we invite you to start with breathing in and have that kind of space for long breaths is that what you're allowing in is allowing your mind to be quietened, and you're allowing more clarity of thought. So that's what you're doing when you're doing that breathing bit. Then when you start to envision what the love is that you want, scientifically, research shows that how the mind works, how the brain works, they don't know the difference between what's reality and what's fiction. So what you're starting to do is you're starting to already tell yourself that this is what it is that I want, and this is my reality. You're actually literally calling it into existence. And then thirdly, when we talk about journaling, when you write things down, again, research shows that when you write things down, it helps you to actually remember more of it. And so when you go out into the world, if you've ever heard of this thing about when you've decided that, oh, I'm going to buy a red car, or you've bought a red car, all of a sudden, all you see are red cars, it's a similar thing. When you've written down this vision of love that you have, you actually, when you go out in the world, start to see, you start to identify what matches that vision of love. So what we're saying to you is real, it's practical, it's not just woo woo. There's a science behind it. And so we want to invite you to be able to do that. But we want to invite you to do something further. You've heard us talk about the cohorts of women that we host. So we have another cohort of becoming magnetic, and we take the women through a series of 7 weeks. At this point in time, we're using the book Calling in the One, and it's a private online community where these women come together, and we just go through those exercises and those sessions where we're able to have open conversations like this, but in a private setting. Women are able to learn from each other, hold each other accountable, and really just be able to there to share, to say, you know what, this has been what my journey is, this is what I'm learning, and encouraging each other as we go on. So if you want to be able to be a part of that community, just click on the link below. um, and if you'd love to hear more from us, why don't you go ahead and click the subscribe button? Follow us here on YouTube. I'm Kai-Nneka Townsend, and my co-host.
At Pranayama Rose, which will be in the in the notes for you.
Brilliant. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us for today's live episode of the Becoming Magnetic podcast.
We hope that you're leaving with more clarity, feeling inspired, and maybe even a new sense of ownership for your why.
And listen, if this conversation has resonated with you, as we said, follow the podcast so you don't miss what's next. And if you know another woman who's ready to step into her worth and attract the love she deserves, then share this with her.
And don't forget, you can join the waitlist for our next 7 week cohort of Becoming Magnetic and be able to connect with other like-minded women, as well as do exercises like I talk through it, but we actually guide you through these practices and more in that cohort. The link is in the caption below.
So, until next time, we really invite you to set aside time to be very clear on your intention, being very clear on your why. And the next time that we see you in another 2 weeks, we're going to be going a step further, because beyond the why, we're going to be starting to look at those other layers that also include that introspection of, if you are inviting in this love, where are you at? Are you actually ready to receive it?
Yes. I'm looking forward to that. Until then, keep your heart open, your standards high, and remember, becoming magnetic starts with you.
Absolutely. I've been Kai
And I am Rosalind.
with the Becoming Magnetic podcast. See you next time.